All right. Welcome to another deep dive where we help you prep for that dream job interview.
That's right.
Today we're focusing on the copy editor role, and we've got some fantastic resources from RoleCatcher to guide us.
Oh, yeah, their database is amazing.
We're going to unpack real interview questions, give you the inside scoop on how to approach them, and even show you how RoleCatcher's AI can give you that extra boost.
It's like having a cheat sheet, but, the ethical kind.
Exactly. So let's start with a quick overview. The RoleCatcher Career Guide paints this really interesting picture of what a copy editor actually does. It's not just about grammar, right?
Way more than that.
I mean, the guide even talks about making text agreeable to read.
It's about making sure the writing is clear and flows well and really engages the reader. It's a high standard.
Agreeable to read. That's a pretty high bar.
Ah,
All right, so let's jump into some questions.
let's do it.
Here's a classic one. Tell us about your relevant experience in copy editing. How would you approach this one?
I would definitely focus on storytelling.
Oh, interesting. Tell me more.
Instead of just listing out every job you've had, highlight specific projects, challenges you faced, and the skills you developed along the way. It's all about those wins.
I love that. Like you're chatting with a friend about your coolest copy editing moments.
Exactly.
Now, the RoleCatcher Interview Guide actually gives a sample response.
Hmm.
They talk about proofreading marketing materials and ensuring consistent brand voice, stuff like that.
Yeah, but it's just a starting point, you know?
Of course, you got to make it your own.
Definitely. Use their example as a framework, but sprinkle in your own personality, your unique experiences. And don't forget, be ready for those follow-up questions.
Oh, right. Like what?
They might ask for a specific example of how you adjusted your editing style for a particular project. Be ready to tell a story.
Ooh, good point. Okay, next question. How do you stay up to date with industry trends and changes? How do you prove you're on top of things?
RoleCatcher is very clear on this one. Avoid generic answers about hobbies. Instead, focus on industry-specific resources, blogs, newsletters, conferences, things like that.
Right, like mentioning that you read the Copy Editor's Digest or that you attended a recent industry event.
Exactly. It shows you're serious about staying current. But they might push a little further.
How so?
They might ask about a recent trend you've noticed and how it's affecting the work of a copy editor. Think about that.
So it's not enough to just name drop. You got to show that you're actually thinking critically about the field. Okay, here's a tough one. How do you handle a situation where a writer disagrees with your suggested changes? Conflict resolution.
Ooh, yeah, that's tricky.
Always a fun topic.
Definitely a delicate situation. RoleCatcher stresses the importance of being diplomatic here.
What do you mean?
Listening to the writer's concerns, explaining your reasoning, and trying to find a solution that works for both of you. It's about collaborating, not battling it out.
It's like you're a mediator, finding that sweet spot where you respect the writer's vision, but also maintain the integrity of the text. All right, another challenge. How do you prioritize your workload when you have multiple projects with different deadlines? Everyone's favorite juggling act.
Oh, the juggling act. Prioritization techniques, clear communication, and being adaptable are key.
What else?
But here's an interesting tip from RoleCatcher. Don't be afraid to admit if you've struggled with this in the past.
Wait, really? Shouldn't we be trying to project this image of like flawless organization?
Honesty and self-awareness are really valuable. Framing a past challenge as a learning experience shows growth. You could say, you know what? I used to struggle with this, but then I started using a time blocking system, and it's made a huge difference.
It's about showing your solutions and your commitment to getting better all the time. That's a good takeaway. And hey, this is where RoleCatcher's AI can really come in handy.
Oh, absolutely.
Their Beat the Automated Recruiter section talks about how their AI analyzes CVs and resumes, identifies skill gaps, and even suggests improvements.
It's like having a personal coach, but for your job application.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
It's not just about acing the interview. It's about optimizing your whole application to stand out. Okay, let's tackle another question. Can you describe your experience working with different types of content, like news, features, and so on?
Yeah, copy editors got to be versatile.
Right, like chameleons.
Exactly. RoleCatcher suggests showcasing your adaptability, emphasizing your ability to switch gears and embrace new challenges. Think about how you've adjusted your editing style for various content.
Like going from a technical white paper to writing snappy social media copy. Got to show them you can handle it all.
Exactly. And you know what? I actually have a story about this from when I was starting out as a copy editor.
Oh, let's hear it.
I worked for the small magazine early in my career, and they covered, well, everything.
Everything? Like what?
Local news arts and culture, you name it. One week I'd be editing like a really intense investigative piece, and then the next I'd be like writing witty captions for their Instagram. Talk about variety.
That's a pretty wild swing. How did you manage to, shift gears so effectively? Adjust your tone, your style?
Yeah, it was a learning curve for sure.
I bet.
I had to develop a system for immersing myself in each project. You know, really understanding the audience, the style guide. I even practiced writing in different voices just to get in the zone.
Wow, so you actually turned that challenge into a strength. That's awesome.
Hmm.
Okay, let's dig into another question. This one really focuses on a core skill for copy editors. How do you maintain consistency in tone and style throughout a publication?
This one is all about the details and seeing the big picture at the same time.
Right.
You could be working with a bunch of different writers and they each have their own voice, but the final product has to feel like it all came from the same source.
Makes sense. You want that seamless reading experience, even if there are different authors behind the scenes.
Exactly. And RoleCatcher really emphasizes the importance of style guides here.
Oh, right, like the rule book.
Yeah. It's like everyone agrees on these rules: grammar, punctuation, tone, word choice, everything that shapes the publication's voice.
And of course, every publication has its own little quirks and preferences, right?
Yeah.
What makes their style unique.
Totally. Some might be super strict about the Oxford comma, while others might completely ban it.
Yeah.
It's your job to know those details inside and out and to enforce them consistently. It shows you're not just fixing words, you're shaping the entire brand experience.
It reminds me of this one project I worked on where the client was obsessed with using utilize instead of use.
Oh, wow.
It seemed like a small thing, but it was a huge part of their brand voice. Now, an interviewer might take this question a step further. They could ask, can you describe a time you had to enforce a style guide rule when a writer disagreed?
Ooh, yeah. Back to those diplomacy skills. Explain the rule clearly and respectfully, and try to find a solution that makes both of you happy. It's a balance, for sure.
Between keeping things consistent and, respecting the writer's creative input. Speaking of balance, this next question tests how you handle those high-pressure moments. How do you handle a high-stress situation like a tight deadline or a ton of urgent edits? Deep breaths, everyone.
You gotta stay calm and focused. RoleCatcher recommends prioritizing tasks, breaking big projects down into smaller chunks, and communicating clearly with everyone on your team. That way, everyone's on the same page.
Systems are super helpful, too.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
To-do lists, project management apps, even a good old-fashioned spreadsheet. Knowing where you stand can make those crazy deadlines a little less stressful.
Totally. And don't be afraid to ask for help if you need it.
Good point.
Sometimes delegating tasks or getting advice from a senior editor can be a lifesaver.
RoleCatcher also has this kind of surprising tip. Don't forget to take breaks.
Oh, true.
Just stepping away from your desk for a few minutes can do wonders for your focus.
Yeah, sometimes you just need to give your brain a rest so you can come back and tackle that problem with fresh energy. Now, an interviewer might ask you to get specific here, like, tell me about a time you handled a major project under a tight deadline. What strategies did you use?
This is your chance to really show off those time management skills, your ability to perform under pressure. Think of a project where you crushed a tough deadline and explain exactly how you did it.
And share what you learned along the way. Did you pick up a new productivity hack or find a better way to collaborate? Those insights show you're all about growth and improvement. All right, next question. This one highlights that eagle eye every copy editor needs. Can you give an example of a time when you caught a mistake that everyone else missed? Now is your time to shine.
Show them how meticulous you are.
Right. Remember, anyone can miss a typo, but it's that ability to spot those hidden errors that sets you apart.
Yeah.
Think back to your projects. Did you catch a wrong fact buried deep in a document or a sneaky grammar error that slipped past everyone else?
It's all about that laser focus and critical thinking. And don't just state the mistake. Explain how you found it and what you did to fix it.
Yeah. I was proofreading some website copy and I noticed a statistic that was outdated. So I double-checked it with the latest research and flagged it for correction.
Perfect. They might even follow up with something like, what techniques do you use to make sure you're catching even the tiniest errors?
Yes. Here's your chance to share your whole proofreading and editing process. Talk about your strategies, like reading aloud, using a rule to guide your eyes, even those helpful grammar and spell check tools. It shows you have a system. You're not just hoping for the best.
Okay, before we get to those last couple of questions, I want to circle back to something we touched on earlier, RoleCatcher's AI. It's not just about interview prep. It can really help you level up your entire application.
It's true. Those AI features are amazing.
Their Copilot AI tool is incredible. You get personalized guidance and feedback, and it's all tailored to specific job roles.
It's all about making sure your application resonates with recruiters and those AI screening systems.
Okay, 2 more questions to go. Ready to tackle them.
Oh yeah, bring them on.
All right, let's talk leadership. This question is especially relevant if you're going for like a more senior role. How do you manage a team of copy editors and make sure everyone's meeting their goals?
So it's not just about your own skills anymore. You got to inspire and guide others.
Right, it's a whole other level.
RoleCatcher recommends focusing on things like setting clear expectations, delegating effectively, giving constructive feedback, and creating a collaborative environment.
Got it.
Think about how you've helped your team succeed, how you've fostered that teamwork spirit.
It's like you're a coach, motivating your team, celebrating their wins, helping them through those tough spots. An interviewer might dig a little deeper here. They could ask something like, can you describe a time you had to deal with a performance issue with someone on your team? How did you handle that?
Ooh, yeah, that's a tricky one. It's a great chance to show off your leadership style, though, and how you handle those sensitive situations.
Makes sense.
Focus on your approach, Did you try to understand the root of the problem? Did you offer support? Set clear expectations for improvement.
So it's less about being like the bad cop and more about mentoring and working together to find a solution.
Exactly. It's about helping your team members grow. Okay, last question. This one really gets to the heart of what it means to be a great copy editor. How do you balance preserving a writer's voice with the need to edit for clarity and consistency?
That's the ultimate balancing act.
It is. You're respecting the author's style while making sure the text is clear and engaging for the reader. RoleCatcher really stresses communication and collaboration here.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
It's about those open and honest conversations with the writer, explaining your reasoning and finding those win-win solutions.
So your partner's working towards the same goal. Now, what if they ask you to get specific? Like, can you give me an example of a time when you had to make significant changes to a writer's work while still keeping their voice intact?
Choose a project where you face this exact challenge.
Got it.
Explain your process, how you found areas for improvement, but still respected the author's style. And highlight the positive outcome. Did the writer appreciate your edits? Did the final piece resonate with the audience?
Those success stories really prove your skills as a copy editor. Wow, we've covered so much today.
Yeah, we have.
We tackled those tough interview questions, explored all the awesome insights from RoleCatcher, and even learned how their AI can help us stand out from the crowd.
Don't forget, this is just the beginning.
Right. Acing the interview is huge, but RoleCatcher's resources are there to support you throughout your whole copy editing journey.
Totally. Their Copilot AI gives personalized feedback, and their career guides help you navigate every step of the way.
It's like having a mentor right there in your pocket.
Exactly. So be confident, be prepared, and most importantly, be yourself. Go get them.
And that wraps up another deep dive. Until next time, happy editing, everyone.